Hey there, Sherry G. Welcome to the channel. If you haven't done so, please go ahead and hit that like button. It's not too late. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and hit the notification bell because I will be back. So, look, I'm going to give my review of this episode, episode 4 of season 6 of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Excuse me. Please keep in mind that the views expressed are alleged, it's all of opinion, and it's for entertainment only. Hey there, so let's get into this review. So, anyway, we are going to pick back up at the spa. This episode picks back up at the spa, and it's heated. So, when we left off last week, the ladies were getting into it. They were going back and forth about everything that took place um, at Mel's Christmas party. So anyway, we're still there. This is where we pick up again. It's still loud. Stormy is going in on Kiki, and then suddenly Mel decides that, you know what, I had enough. This is not my idea of a relaxing time. This is not what's supposed to be happening at a spa. This is not the time or the place to talk about this. And so she kind of says that to the ladies in her own words. And then Stormy's like, no, this is good. I mean, this is good. This is how we communicate. Like, this is how some people communicate. And anyway, so Mel says, well, you guys, you go ahead, work it out, but I'm going to leave. Like, this is just not for her. And when she gets up to leave, everybody looks shocked. But even before that, Stormy asked the ladies, so this was good, guys, right? You're good with this, right? This is okay. Like, we're working it out, right? We're talking it out, right? And everybody kind of says yes, but I get the feeling that they really weren't going along with her. But Tisha kind of ticked me off because when all of this started at the spa and they started bringing up all of those things that, who said what as far as who was bringing up issues in Tisha's marriage, Tisha actually said, I don't want to do this here. I don't want to talk about this. I'm good. So it really kind of ticked me off when Stormy asked that question and Tisha said, oh yeah, this is good. Like, okay, but just a few minutes ago, you weren't good. So make up your mind, Tisha. Like, that just really, like, either you're good or you're not good, or you're just saying that because you guys just want Mel to stay and be a part of your mess. But I'm just so glad that she just decided, I'm up out of here. Y'all can have this. This is not my idea of a spa. And, she was saying that her throat was hurting anyway. So she was done. So when she leaves, though, everybody's looking like she's leaving. Yeah, she's leaving. And what struck me even more was the look on Stormy's face. Like, it really threw her when Mel left. Like, she just really didn't know what to do. She was sitting there like, yeah, she's gone, okay? But you can keep up the drama without her, Stormy. So anyway, we move from that scene, and then there's a scene at the batting cage. It's Marcel, it's Maurice, and it's Martell, and the three of them are meeting at the batting cage. They begin, talking, and then Maurice asks, well, how's it going with Sheree, and how does she feel about you walking Melody out to her car? And then, Martell says, well, I always do things like that. Like, I was just walking her out to the car. She's the mother of my kids, blah, 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 trying to make sure that she's good, etc., etc. Everything should be okay with her. But anyway, he goes on to say that he found favor with, he had favor with God, but he was beginning to lose it. And he had favor with God, but he lost it. And now he was alluding to the fact that being with Sheree, he's beginning to get that favor back. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, well, you had favor because you were under Mel's covering, right? You had favor because you were covered by the gifts and talents that your wife had. And those gifts and talents helped you guys start a business that really expanded. Or she took your lawn care business and she took it to the next level, to the property preservation aspect. She really expanded your clientele and put systems in place to make it what it was. And then you guys moved from that to Holt and Holt Custom Homes. So Melody was the magic behind the business. So that's where your favor was. And when you left her, you lost everything. So you lost that favor. God didn't really have anything to do with that. It was your decision. It was your decision to get up and leave. Well, not to get up and leave. It was your, well, to get up and leave every night and go have this extramarital affair and then a baby on top of that. Um, that decision, yeah, doing that for years. Melody finally gets enough of it, especially when there's a baby involved. So yeah, you lost everything. You lost everything. And as far as gaining your favor back with Sheree, well, yeah, that's because Bravo's doing you a favor by letting you show up over there, and Own is doing Sheree a favor by letting her show up over here because allegedly you guys both need these favors for a storyline. So okay, we get it. You're getting your favor back. Thank God for Sheree. But they go on to say, is she, ask him, is she the one? And again, he's like, he squirrels around that question. He never really answers that question, no matter who it is that asks him, because she ain't the one. They're just friends, right? We get it. We got it. They even talk about, in this section, the guys are talking about, well, you said you want to have more kids and a lot of them. Allegedly, we hear he does have a lot. But anyway, that's a different topic for a different time. But yeah, so he wants to have more kids and a lot of them. And they go, well, Sheree wants to do this. Have you guys talked? And he said, oh, yeah, we talked about it. She's down for it. And he goes, I think it was Maurice, like, Sheree, like one, two, like how many? Like, anyway, I don't see Sheree having any kids with him. So I just kind of chuckled at that and go, okay, let's move on. So we move on to the next scene. And this scene is Marcel and his partner his partner Gino. They're meeting over at Sculpt. So we finally get to see a little bit more of what Sculpt's office looks like. Anyway, they're talking and Gino begins to tell him, well, they start off talking about, they're going to be partners, and Marcel is glad to have Gino on as a partner because what he can't bring to the table, Gino can bring to the table. But then Gino says, we're dating. So in other words, we're trying to figure this out. We ain't locked into nothing yet. So in my mind, I don't think there's been a deal sealed between them. Like they're just trying to figure it out. And maybe this was just for a storyline. But Gino's reminding him, no, the deal hasn't been sealed yet. We're dating. We're going to see how this works. We're going to see if we can make it work. And then we'll go from there. So when he says that to Marcel, I'm always looking at people's face and their body language. Marcel looks like a little shocked, like, you got me. Yeah, Marcel. This deal ain't sealed yet between you and Gino. He's got to see what's going on over here at Schultz, how he can make things fit in as far as from his side and how y'all can get this going. But they begin to talk and Gino tells him, he gives him some really good pointers. I think I like this guy named Gino. Just based on this little segment and the information that he's given Marcel, I think I kind of like him. He tells him things that makes great business sense for sure. So he tells him that you need to have checks and balances in place. And he actually even uses some bigger corporations as an example. Because remember, Marcel says that he wants to be a billionaire. So if you want to get there, you have to put checks and balances in place, and you got to make sure that your things are set up so that you can move in that direction, right? Got to straighten out stuff where you are right now, because it's like allegedly, and in my opinion, there's just like, it's a mess, right? And he needs some help. So Gino begins to explain that we have to have someone that approves our expenses. So somebody has to watch the money and make sure that it makes sense as far as it pertains to the projects that we have lined up. Now this really takes Marceau out. You can see him like squirming in his seat. Like he kind of squirms in his seat. He's totally uncomfortable with that. And I get it. Because that means he's going to have to let Tisha into information that he probably hasn't shared with her. As a matter of fact, he actually basically says that in this particular segment, because he goes on and he tells Gino that Tisha, that she knows his deepest thoughts when it comes to like being a husband, but she doesn't know his deepest thoughts as far as business, as far as being a business partner, and as far as it pertains to Schultz. So anyway, Gino begins to tell him that, when he was younger, his dad said that, you know, he gave an analogy of a shepherd leading sheep, but he said, I'm not leading sheep, I'm leading wolves, because I don't want you to just follow me. I want you to be able to move ahead and establish your own life. I want you to move ahead, take the lessons you learned from me and create your own life. And that's what he thinks the mindset is, that's the mindset he thinks that would work for Marceau. But Marceau's thinking explains to him that his thinking is, I'm the protector and I'm the provider. So he has more of I'm the shepherd and you're the sheep. You just follow me along. I don't have to tell you anything. That's how he's been moving in his relationship. So anyway, he admits that he's really uncomfortable with letting Tisha in on all of the business aspects of Schultz, especially when it comes to finances, because he tends to kind of shield her from that. Because sometimes there's like questions about, well, how are we going to make this happen financially? And then he doesn't want her to worry about, well, where's the money going to come from? So how are we going to get these bills paid? Now, for me, this was a very telling moment. And like I said, sometimes these guys talk like they'll talk one way on social media and everything, and they try to make us believe a certain thing, like they're a $17 million company, like they're these multimillionaires that have all of this money, because we know that multi simply means more than one, right? So are you a $2 million company or $3 million? But they have this profile out saying that they're worth $17 million. So, but they're having these struggles at a very basic level, because he's admitted to the fact that this business is really just starting. So as far as the Alabama aspect of the business, because allegedly they have Tennessee, they had Texas, and they had South Carolina. I think Texas, nothing is happening here anymore, and nothing is happening in South Carolina. So it looks like they just have their branch in Tennessee and a branch in Alabama that they're trying to start. Anyway, so I thought that this section was pretty good, because for me, it kind of answered some of the questions that I had about the company overall. And it kind of let me see some of the struggles as far as, ooh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Some of the struggles as far as it pertains to Marceau and Tisha working together. And he really doesn't like working with Tisha. I guess it's just like being with her all the time. I don't know. But we move on to the next scene. And this scene is where Tisha, Kimmy, and Mel meet over at Maurice's place. He has a place that no one's using right now. And like, he has this room set up. It's a whole podcast room. He has all of the equipment. I was like eyeing like, oh my God. Like, he has everything. Like, the speakers, the mics. He has it all. The lighting, all of the things that you could want in a podcast room is there. And so when Tisha arrives before Mel, and when she comes, she's like taken back by how nice the place looks. And she tells Kimmy, oh, well, this looks really nice. And then Kimmy says to her, well, perhaps you could use this space, because Maurice isn't using it. He hasn't used it in a while. Nobody's doing anything here. So maybe you could use this space while your offices are being completed. And then Tisha, she kind of likes the idea, and she's like, yeah, but I bet Maurice isn't going to go for it. That's what she kind of says off to the side. So then Mel shows up and she brings like a little snack. I think it's like chicken salad or tuna salad and crackers. And so they're sitting around eating. I really enjoyed seeing them work together. Now, when she arrives, at first, Tisha gets in a little moody way, like she's drinking on a drink, she's kind of sipping on it and kind of looking. So she's cordial with Mel, and I'm glad to see that they can sit down and have a conversation together. Um, Without things getting really crazy. Not really sure what this project is about. I guess we'll see. But they go on and they talk about the spa, of course. And Kimmy saying that she thinks that everything ended well at the spa, that, if they were able to lay everything down and just move forward. And then Tisha, I really don't understand what made her go here, because she said it and she was a little attitudinal. She was like, yeah, because everybody doesn't communicate the same. We just communicate the way we communicate. Okay, Tisha, the question was, did everybody leave everything on the table? Nothing about the way you communicate, because you can still get things across without being so mean and so nasty to one another. And that's the point that Mel was trying to make that they missed. So in this setting, Mel actually kind of alludes to that. Yeah, we can do that, but there's just the way you go about it. So as a matter of fact, I want to have a tea and I want to bring in a person that can help us communicate better, so that going forward, when things come up, we can have the conversations that we need to have and they're just not so volatile. And so the ladies agreed to that. So I guess we're going to be seeing the tea party next, because from here, we then move on to the next scene we move on to is Tisha and Marcel at home. So they're upstairs in their bedroom and they're talking, and Marcel begins to tell her, how he's been protecting her and how in his mind he is the provider and the protector, but he hasn't really been good at being a partner because he doesn't really let her in on things. But he's trying to get better, and he wants them to be better. And then she just like, oh, she just kind of melts. Oh, I'm just so happy right now because he's saying all the right things. Now, this is my opinion, but in my opinion, Marceau is a good talker, okay? In my opinion, Marceau, Martell, and Maurice all have the tendencies of manipulators, great manipulators, because we know that Maurice, allegedly, he just makes these decisions and then Kimmy's just stuck to deal with it, right? And we already know how Martell is. And Marceau, he talks a lot. And I feel like we've been here before, right? More than once, where he's apologizing and he's making up to her. And then right the next day, he's like throwing mud at her. So I don't know. We'll see where it goes with Tisha and Marceau. It's like we're back here again, around and round and round. Maybe eventually he'll get it and he'll change. Anyway, moving on. We end up at, I don't know where the office is, but it's the original six. They're meeting together and they're discussing the Black Business Expo. So when this scene starts off, Kimmy and Maurice arrive first, and they allude to the fact that, oh yeah, well, everybody's going to be here, but they're late as usual. And they kind of joke and laugh about that. But they're excited that everyone decided that they're down for whatever this is that's going on. They're down to meet together and discuss whatever it is that Tisha and Marceau want to discuss. Then Martell arrives, and okay, he's for the crap already. So they're talking, and he says hello to them. They're talking, and then they let him know that everybody's gonna be there, and he says, "Everybody." And then he starts moving his chair around like a little child, like a little fifth grader. So elementary. He's moving his chair around like, I'm not going to sit over here. Like if she's going to sit over there, you don't even know where she's going to sit, first of all. But anyway, he just gives off that strong message, like, I don't want to sit next to her. So next, Mel arrives and she comes in and she's real cheerful and chipper. She speaks to everybody. You can see Martell kind of eyeing her, and you can see the stink on him. But what I liked is that Mel wasn't paying him any dust. Like he's all eyeing her out, side eyeing her, everything, but she's not paying him any attention. And I was there for it. I loved it. It was just so funny to me watching that. I'm like, oh my God, I actually rewinded back to that. I'm like, she's not paying him any dust. I'm here for it because his energy was off. And like I said about Martell before, he is always trying to start stuff with her in the midst of everyone else. She wasn't here for it at all, and she was in a great mood. So that was good to see. So anyway, eventually Marcel and Tisha arrive, and Tisha begins the presentation. She has a slideshow up with all of the bullet points, I guess, of things that they want to do and what this meeting is about, things that she wants to accomplish, etc., etc. But there's a picture of her and Marcel there. And so Kimmy stops and she says, so is this a group thing or is this a y'all thing? Because looking at that slideshow, this is a y'all thing. And you can see that Tisha's a little thrown back by it. And Marcel, too, he has a look on his face. And Tisha goes, well, I was hoping that it would be a group thing. I was hoping that we all could get together and that we all could make this work together, that we all could execute this. So anyway, they go on and they talk. And Kimmy's like, so what is the objective? Like, what is your end game? What do you wish to accomplish? And I don't think Tisha ever really answered that question because I don't think she ever really understood what her end game was or what it was that she wanted to accomplish with all of them coming together. Or maybe she just didn't know how to communicate that to everyone, how to put it to words. But it's like when you come to a meeting like this and you're trying to get everyone on one accord, you have to let everyone know what your objectives are. And that's the thing she should have started off with. The objective of this group is, or the objective of this mission is to accomplish such and such and such and such and such. But anyway, they begin to talk, and I guess they're trying to decide like what name they're going to use. So they make a decision on the name. Because Mel says, look, I think this is a great idea, a grand idea or something like that. She's offered the idea for them. And I think y'all should stick with that name. And so I caught that and I actually did some commentary because, there was a little sneak peek of this section. And it caught me when she said y'all. So in other words, y'all go ahead and do your thing. I will support you, but I'm not down for this. Another question she asked was about the budget. So what is the budget that you have for your speakers and those who are going to be on panel? And of course, Maurice and Tisha are like, I'm sorry, Marcel and Tisha are like, we're not paying anybody. Like, we didn't have a budget for us. I don't really think they had a budget for anything. Allegedly, in my opinion, I do believe that production probably provided the space for them and put that piece together for them because it just seems like they just didn't have a budget, but yet they want to go state to state and do this. So conceptually, whatever it is, still don't know the objectives, but I guess it could work. Like they could do this business expo thing and take it to different states, but Mel actually dropped them some gems, and so did Kimmy, because they were both on board with the you gotta pay your people. So they need to know what their objectives are, and they definitely need to know a budget, like what they're working with in order to make the things happen that they want to happen. And Mel even said, well, what about sponsors? They never even thought about that. So she gave them a lot, I think, to work with. So anyway, that's where we ended. That's all I have for you in this video. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for stopping by. Please like the video if you haven't. Please do that on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you here. Hit the notification bell because I will be back. Until then, ciao.